All right, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to another insane story. So this story takes place back when I was in high school. And honestly, I love high school. High school has so many memorable moments in my life to this point where I'm not even gonna lie, this whole channel is basically all my high school experiences. From me doing the Devil's Tango. Honestly, my life's been crazy in general, but today's story is really intense. So it all starts off back in high school. This is my grade 10 year, and I remember one thing that everyone loved in high school was the prom. Prom back in my high school was everything that I thought it was. Literally everyone getting ready and getting their dates ready for, you know, asking them out and stuff to prom. Everyone did the whole cliche asking, you know, would you like to go to prom with me? Would you like to go to prom with me? Kind of thing. And it was so repetitive to the point where almost every day a new person was doing something really cliche and really, well, an interesting gesture to basically ask out someone to prom. Like, I remember one time a girl asked me to prom by literally almost running me over. Yeah, that's a story for another time. But basically, no joke, like the days coming up to prom was literally the most exciting thing ever. Now, knowing I had a prom every year in our school, usually people that were already like in a couple already just knew they were going to prom, but they would still do a cliche, you know, asking like, oh, like, would you go to prom with me on the school announcements, which was really weird. But I remember there was one kid in my school who basically got a prom date in the most weirdest way possible. Basically, I remember there was this kid in our school. He was a pretty odd kid. Like, don't get me wrong, he was nice and all, but he seemed very quiet. He was one of those like quiet Asian kids in our school that really just did homework and was really good at it. And sometimes I would even ask him to help me with my homework. But when it came to girls, I'm not gonna lie, most girls did not want him. I have no idea why. He was a pretty cool, smart dude, and it was not like he was ugly or anything, but for some reason, girls were pretty disgusted by him because he smelled really weird, apparently. And I remember basically back when I was in high school, I decided to go up to him saying, yo, bro, if you need help getting a prom date, like, I can help you out in some way, you know what I'm saying? He looks at me and he's like, I mean, if you could help me out, bro, that'd be kind of cool, man. So I remember me and him, we basically tried to find a way for a girl to get him to prom. But me knowing I'm like the best wingman ever, like, no joke, I could literally like get any person a girl. Any guy on the universe that needs a girlfriend, I can definitely help them. To the point where they would even get to do the Devil's Tango. Anyway, sorry, going on. I remember one time me and him, we basically walked around lunchtime, basically trying to get him to know some girls. So every time I would walk up to a girl, I'd be like, hey, have you met my buddy yet? And no girl would find this weird, by the way, because I knew a lot of the chicks at school because I've done the Devil's Tango with almost legit every girl in that school. So I kind of had like that good recommendation status, I guess. And I remember this girl was like, oh, like, he's kind of cute. Like, what are you up to anyway? And basically my buddy would always mess it up somehow saying, oh, you know, I'm gonna basically get new shoes and like, I'm gonna like eat some McDonald's. Like, the kid would literally mention the most weirdest and dumbest things that don't even have any relevance to the conversation. So I decided to get him someone that was as weird as him. And I remember there was one chick in our school who was actually like kind of attractive, and she was in a cheerleading team. She was one of the more uglier girls on the cheerleading team, but still, you know, she was enough, I guess. So I remember I walked up to her and I introduced her to him, and basically him and her ended up actually getting along really well. Like, surprisingly, they actually really started to like each other, and it got to the point where right on the spot, right when I'm standing there, he showed up like, yeah, so like, I got known for prom. I was wondering, do you want to go to prom with me? Asking in the most boring way ever. And this girl said yes. Honestly, this girl was like the easiest thing to pull in the universe. Like, I could use a magnet and pull her in. I don't know. It made no sense. But honestly, he ended up getting a prom date, and he thanked me a lot and basically said he was not going to mess this up, and how I basically was like a savior to him. I don't know. It was pretty weird, but I went off my day, and I remember two girls actually that day ended up asking me to prom, which was really cute, but I don't know. I decided to take them both anyway. Anyways, I remember the day of prom, I had 2 dates at the prom. So I remember I just kept jumping from one to another. That's a story for another time because that ended up really badly. But like I said, we'll talk about that another time. Anyways, I remember when I was at prom, it was basically everything that like I expected it to be. Like, you know, there was the punch bowl, there was kids dancing, everyone was just hanging out, and there was like a dance floor playing some Usher. If you guys don't know what that is, then I don't know. I'm pretty old, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, everyone was just basically having a good time until I remember they were gonna announce prom king and queen. Now, for some reason, voting for prom king and queen was the most weirdest thing ever, and the way that system worked was really weird. So I remember as I was like walking around telling people to vote for me because I wanted to be prom king again, I remember the funniest thing happened where basically I went up to my buddy that was like the Asian guy that couldn't get a girl in the first place, and his date, and I was like, hey, yeah, guys, like, vote for me. But when I saw him, his face was turning pale, and I remember he literally pulled me aside saying, bro, like, I feel really sick, but I don't want to leave my date, but she's so disgusting. I'm like, what do you mean? He ends up looking at me saying, bro, she literally farted on my hand when I was grabbing her butt, and like, I'm really grossed out right now. And like, really? You get grossed out that easily? Like, it was just a fart, dude. Just relax. Like, don't get me wrong, any girl farting is gross, but I told him, like, you need to calm down, you know, get your face unpaled and just relax and go hang out with her. He said okay, and he ended up going back to her and everything was fine. At least I thought so. I remember as like prom was going on and stuff, out of nowhere, I remember it was a slow dancing time. And basically when you slow dance, you basically get a chick and you start dancing with her, swaying side to side really awkwardly and talking about things that you really did not expect, but honestly, sometimes it's just for the best. Anyways, I was slow dancing with two chicks, and when I was swaying side by side with both of them, I remember I looked over at my Asian buddy friend that was like, you know, dancing with this weird girl that farted on his hand, and he felt even more disgusted. I don't know why, but apparently he ended up like literally like kind of burping in his mouth, and he was like kind of just feeling really wheezy, I guess. I have no idea why, so I remember I kind of just ended up ditching my two dates at prom, and I ran up to him like, yo, dude, you good, bro? And he's like, bro, I'm not gonna lie, this girl's gross. And he ends up literally puking all over his prom date. Reminder, this girl's a cheerleader, okay? Like a full-on cheerleader that is apparently really gross made my buddy puke all over his prom date. It was the funniest thing ever, and I remember looking at her, and she just looks at me like dressed in puke, and she's like, oh my god, I'm literally so disgusted. Oh my god, oh my goodness, he literally just puked on me. And right at this point, I remember when this girl was just screaming, yelling to a slow dance song that was like basically like happening, everyone just turns their heads and start looking at this Asian guy that puked all over the girl. And right as one person puked, another person started puking, and then another person, to the point where 4 other people ended up puking. 2 of them were girls, and like the other 2 were guys. Really awkward and really weird, but basically on the dance floor there was a lot of puke. It got to the point where the teachers ended up turning on the lights and basically started trying to get everyone out of the gym to basically clean up. It got to the point where they took so long and they basically sent everyone home. I remember I was really upset about that at first, but then the 2 girls looked at me that I was with at prom, and they basically ended up coming home with me because, you know, why not? And yes, I did do the Devil's Tango with them, and it was pretty awesome. But I mean, other than that, I'm not gonna lie. This kid the next day when we went to school, I walked up to him like, hey man, like, do you want to try going for another girl? And he's like, nah, dude, nope. After that gross girl, dude, honestly, I think I'm gonna turn gay, which I didn't even know it was possible to turn gay magically, but I mean, it is what it is, I guess. Anyways, guys, that's basically it for today's story. So make sure you guys do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Seriously means a lot when you guys do. And on top of that, follow me on Instagram. Anyways, like I always say, follow for more embarrassing stories. Peace out, guys.